We're live. This is Touch Gloves Boxing. I go by the name of Biyenge, featuring your Truly Tre. Remember to like, share, and subscribe when you're ready.
Yo, what's going on, cuz?
All good. All good. Can't complain. It's been an interesting weekend. Arsenal are doing well, and what happened today?
Oh, with United. What a question to ask me, innit, on this day, yeah? Where? Mate, you know what? To be honest, man, it was just one of them ones, man. Lost to the better team. City are just on a different level, Yeah, they're just on a different level right now, man. So respectfully, obviously I could sit back as a United fan, but what I could say though is City ain't won the Champions League before, so I'm easy. Only one team in Manchester, so I'm good. But look, enough about football anyway. Obviously, I had to go through a bit of pain, watching that game. But obviously, I got an opportunity here to obviously talk boxing. Cuz before we sort of get into the show, get into the topics, of course. Hopefully, you've obviously had a good week, and hopefully all has been well.
All good. Can't complain. All good.
Good. Oh yeah, man. You know what? I can't even complain as well. Obviously, before we do the show, obviously I just wanted to just give out a few shout outs to obviously Dean White. Wanted to give a shout out to TM14 Promotions as well. John and Aaron, they've obviously doing a tremendous job with their events over the weekend. So I got to obviously witness a live fight. So you guys will obviously see my sort of venture my social soon, man. But look, let's get down to serious business here, cuz before we obviously preview the most important topic, of course, cuz I just want us to just quickly just break down what's going on in the boxing world in terms of the news. Fury, AJ, by now, what's your sort of thoughts on that, man?
I honestly don't know what's going on. Few wants it to happen on the 3rd of December. My understanding is like, look, they're both big stars, and it's gonna take longer than that because it's you got like 8 weeks, and it's too short notice. If anything, perhaps extend it till January. It just makes sense because it's going to be a big fight. Because you got to think of the promotion, securing the venue, etc. Everything. Do you know what I mean? And also, if the Zone and BT want to host it, there's a lot. But again, it's all talks. As far as I'm concerned, what Fury's camp is saying is that they're happy with everything. They want to go ahead, but the delay is on Matchroom side. But again, I don't know. I'm only going by what we're being told. So I suppose it comes down to really Eddie Hearn if he really wants to take that fight. I mean, I know AJ wants to take it, but then again, the question is, should he take it? Yeah, I don't know.
It's a good question, cuz, man. And look, there's probably 1,000 different answers, man. But I'm not gonna lie. I'm sort of someone that I love the sport to the point where I like to study quite a lot of things, and I'm not even gonna lie to you, cuz um, you know, I would have wanted AJ at this point to have someone like a Lennox Lewis as a mentor, especially during this time of losing the championship, in terms of regaining the championship as well, getting that sort of advice and that sort of that go ahead from an ex undisputed champion. um it's a tough one, man, but I think taking the Fury fight would be a lot of courage, and look, I would love to see it. The UK would love to see it as well. That would sell out Wembley easily. So look, if you were sort of the man that was responsible for pulling off this fight, let's say you had the final sign off, what do you think, man? Like, what do you genuinely think in terms of the fight itself, man?
With the fighter, I have to protect my fighter, but at the same time, I got to look at it as a business point of view. If the fighter really wants that fight, I'm talking about really wants that fight and feels that they're ready, then to go ahead and do it. Because in boxing, there's risk. Now, him going on a world tour, he's good up. He's fighting. I don't know who the top is. It top 10 around the world or top 15?
Yeah, possibly top 10. Yeah, top 10.
Now, let's just say he fights a top 10 who we don't really know about, and then he gets KO'd. It's going to look really bad if he loses. Do you know what I'm saying? It's going to look really bad. Whereas if he was to fight the likes of Fury, remember I said he's capable of beating him. I'm not saying, no, he's going to win or lose. He's capable because anything can happen because it's heavyweight boxing.
Yeah.
But it looks better on his resume to say, like, raw, he fought the best. He lost by the best. Like, for example, he lost to Usyk. And then if he fights Fury and loses to Fury, then he lost to Fury. So it's good on his CV because he challenged everyone. But it just, how I see it again, it could be that if it doesn't happen now, it could potentially happen summertime or I think next year, September. Because if Fury and Usyk fight, I don't know if there's going to be a rematch clause. I'm not too sure. So let's just say whoever becomes, let's just say, okay, Fury becomes the heavyweight, undisputed heavyweight champion. And he goes, look, I want to fight one person and that's it. And that person's AJ. That fight could be even bigger. Do you know what I mean? But again, look, there's so much risk in this division, man. I mean, look, you got Joe Joyce. Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of people are sleeping on Joe Joyce.
Yeah, Joe Joyce wants it as well, and obviously big up the juggernaut, big up obviously SJam, that deal with the sort of the commercial and the promotional side of sort of the business. I've been sort of doing a lot of networking with them, and yeah, I definitely feel that Joe Joyce he's primed, he's ready now. He's not a young buck, so he has some years left in him, and I feel that now that he's a mandatory contender now for one of Usyk's belts, if he doesn't get that title shot, then I could see that fight against AJ happening in December. But that's if though. Let's cut you off.
I can't see that happening. I can't. As weird as it sounds, I would love to see it happen, but it's just like Joe Joyce just beaten Joseph Parker, right? Was it last weekend? And it's just like that was his first pay-per-view fight. And my understanding now, he's a pay-per-view star now, right? And I mean, what? Okay. AJ fighting Joe Joyce, what is he gaining? I suppose if he beats Joe Joyce, then he's number one.
It's mandatory, yeah.
Mandatory, do you know what I mean? He's number one. But then would he really want to take that route? I don't know, because I know he wants to be 3 times world champion again. But again, it's a risky fight. I mean, I would like to see Joe Joyce and Dillian Whyte. That's a fight I would love to see. Joe Joyce and Dillian Whyte, Joe Joyce and Derek Chisora, and hopefully Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois. But if they can make Joe Joyce and AJ, that's going to be an interesting fight, because as far as I'm concerned, right about now, it's 50-50.
Yeah, definitely, because obviously AJ's coming off the losses, of course. Joe Joyce is coming off wins. He's still undefeated. That whole confidence of being an undefeated champion, being an undefeated fighter. Sorry, that's going to give him confidence, knowing that look, he's ready to get in there with AJ. And obviously, I'm sure he has some sort of understanding of how AJ is like in the ring. I understand there's been some sparring, stuff like that.
This is what annoys me as well, right? Joe Joyce wants to fight Fury. Why don't Fury just make that? Why don't Fury fight Joe Joyce? Give him the opportunity. I mean, come on, they're both in the same stable. It'll be easy to make. Easy.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
Let's be real. Let's be real. Yeah, no disrespect to the opponent that he may be fighting. Is it Manuel Charles? I don't know his name. Now, I don't really know of him. I've heard of him, but I don't really know much about him. And the fans, they're okay. But if it's Fury and Joe Joyce, bro, that'll do numbers on BT, and it's a pay-per-view fight.
It'll be huge. And I like it. I like what Joe Joyce brings to the heavyweight division in terms of
confident.
He's confident. He's got the granite chin. He's technically he's not human, man. Based on the bone density of his chin. I'm saying it's 6 times the amount of a sort of normal human being, man. So he's
Mm,
willing to. He can sort of take a punch, man. He can. So
mm.
it'll be interesting to see if that fight was to happen. For example,
Has to, man.
let's say Fury lands his best shot, like,
Yeah.
and he's still standing there, no sort of reaction. How does
It,
Fury react to that as well? Do you know what I
uh,
mean? That
well,
would be
who knows? That's what I'm saying. Who knows? But it has to happen because you just think about it. Look, Fury wants AJ. He wants AJ so much. Yeah, we don't. I don't think it's happening. Could be wrong, but we can't see this fight happening in December.
mm,
Now you got George Joyce knocking on your door,
mm,
right? You got potentially Dylan White as well
mm.
rematch. Again, I don't know if he wants to give him a rematch, but you know what I mean. Fury's got so much options, but he's choosing to fight a random opponent.
Mm, mm.
Do you know what I mean? Just think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what, cuz like it's just one of those things that, like, in my opinion, and you're probably thinking the same. You're just thinking that, you've got not you haven't got much fights left in your sort of contract, man. So you're thinking, try and make these fights, big ones, especially for the fans, obviously for yourself, financially, of course, which
Mm.
naturally this AJ fight would be sort of a bigger pay than the Wilder fights, I believe, yeah, because of the
Because
commercial values, isn't it?
Fury even said like if he doesn't get AJ, he'll fight Derek Chisora. A trilogy. I mean, do we want to see a trilogy?
Yeah.
But my point is, it's just like, dude, Joe Joyce is there. Come on, man. Like, to make it happen. Frank Warren can make it happen. If anything, it can be a stadium fight. It can probably. Okay, I was going to say
Yeah,
Emirates.
London Stadium, man.
Don't know. I don't know. But either way, or even O2 Arena, man,
Mm.
it will be a decent fight. It will be a good fight.
Or even just a classic Your Call, man. I was obviously there on Friday, man.
You
Love
can't.
it. Love that.
You can't.
Scrapping.
I know.
I'm
But
joking,
you
man. I'm
can't
joking.
put
Of course
Fury.
not. Of course not. Of
But
course.
having said that, I've said this now. Yeah, if AJ doesn't fight Fury now, his next opponent, right? It has to be in America, and it has to be Miller. It has to. It has to be AJ and Miller. Everybody wants to see that fight. I'm sure the Americans want to see that fight.
Yeah, definitely. And look, obviously we've had a tremendous sort of couple of weeks in terms of understanding how the Americans feel about the UK fighters. So obviously big up Raquel Pretty Beast Miller and also Peter Lopez from Mayweather Promotions, of course, man. And it was nice to get their scope on what they feel about AJ, and I think it will be a good fight for him, especially after the losses. Get in there with Jerome Miller, New York City, Brooklyn Center. Like, I wouldn't mind, seeing that fight there, man, again. And just seeing AJ just have another opportunity to sort of right a wrong in America as well, man, because despite, commercially, he's still a big name. And obviously the Americans still have, massive respect for AJ. And naturally you would, because he's a top athlete, he's a top individual. But just from a boxing perspective in the ring, we've still got that sort of bitter mouth in our mouth in it, in terms of him having that loss against Ruiz, man. So
Mm.
it'll be good just for AJ and for the UK for him to just bring some energy there, get a big knockout win, in the States, build up momentum, and then if, like you're saying, if the fight can happen in the summer with Fury, I think that would be a good sort of a momentum builder as well. He could also, get these US crowds coming to like Wembley, for example, to see
Yeah,
AJ after,
yeah.
him doing the job in the States. So these are the sort of things I would want AJ to do. And hopefully, if he listens to the pod, or 258, if they're listening to this as well, it'll be good to see AJ back in the States so he can right a wrong that he's obviously made during his time up there, of course, man.
Mm. Madison Square Garden, though, I say not New York. I say Madison because that's where it happened. That's where he lost his first fight. So yeah,
Yeah, why not? Go back to where he lost, man.
yeah,
Get them demons out. Like,
yeah.
get back there. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to do that, cuz, man. Go
Mm.
back to where it happened. Like, you gotta go back, get into that zone again. And but obviously, look, we're just fans, we're passionate fans, of course, and that would be the dream. but obviously it's down to sort of the promoters, the boxers, and
Mm,
hopefully financially some sort of deal can be made so we can see, some of these big fights, man. But cuz I
mm,
can't lie, man, I'm genuinely excited, cuz man, I can't lie. The heavyweight scene is looking good. We obviously got Wilder that's coming back soon as well against
mm,
Hellenius. That's going to be exciting for the division as well.
mm.
And yeah, there's a few fights, cuz man. There's a few fights. We've obviously got Marshall Shields is back on. Is
Yeah.
so I'm really
Mm,
excited about that.
mm,
Baumgartner versus Mayo, or Mayo versus Baumgartner. That's going to be a massive fight as well. Two
mm.
sort of rivalries, man. That's why I'm just loving it, man. We're getting, as fans, we're getting tremendous events, and you got to big up the promoters, the broadcasters, and everyone that's involved in sort of setting up these shows, man. But cuz obviously we've obviously named the show the Born Rivals preview, of course, cuz. And look, I want us to get down and dirty. I want us to just get on
Ah,
business here. This is
yeah,
really, 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 really big,
yeah.
man. So, Eubank Jr
Conor
versus
Benn.
Conor, the Destroyer, Benn. Cuz, what do you
Right.
think, man?
I
What
think,
from everything
honestly, just watching the build up, it can go either way now. I think this fight could potentially be a draw, right? I
Oh,
think, no, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
here you
Because
go.
remember, Eubank has to lose weight, right? He has to come down to a certain weight where last time he was at that weight, he was what, 18, I believe? And now he hasn't performed in that weight in a very, very long time. Now, that weight that he's going to be competing in, it could be a disadvantage. He might be powerless or he might, lose stamina. I don't know. Whereas Conor, again, he's fine. He has to put on weight, right? So that could, again, be a disadvantage to him as well. Do you know what I mean? Where he can get tired easily. Do you know what I mean? Stamina might not be there. But how I see it, naturally on paper, Eubank is the bigger name where, Eubank should win this fight. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy fight, but I said he should win this fight.
Mm.
But if he cannot get Conor Benn down by what, round 5 and 6, yeah, if it goes past, I could potentially see it being a draw, or Conor just doing it in the last minute. So I don't know. I mean, look, Eubank is saying if he loses, he retires. Personally, I don't believe that. I think he's got at least 2 more fights in him. We will want to see him fight Billy Joe Saunders and potentially fight Triple G for the belts. Do you know what I mean? But again, I understand if he loses to a welterweight, he'll feel embarrassed. But again, it could go either way. I think me personally, I think it's going to be a draw because I think they're going to lay it all. They're going to lay it all out there. They're going to war. I was watching Eubank Senior and Nigel Benn. Like the first fight, fair enough. I give that to Eubank. He obviously won. The second fight, I'm not gonna lie, cause I think that Nigel should have actually won that fight. Do you know what I mean? And the trilogy never happened. But whereas it's their kids, remember, Connor's 26, Eubank's 32. So Connor is hungry. He's hungry, but Eubank, the mind games. He's good at the mind games. I mean, look, we've been seeing all these videos on social media. I'm 60%. I'm eating steak. I'm eating chicken. I'm eating burger. That's just all promo, bro. I don't think he's really eating that. If anything, he spits it out once the camera's off, or it could be all an old video. Come on, he's not silly. I mean, all right. If he can't meet the weight, then I understand he gets fined. But I believe the fight will still go on, right?
Yeah, I
So
believe so. Yeah, I
yeah,
believe
so
so.
it's a risk for Conor. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if he goes down to that weight, again, it's a risk for Eubank. So it's
Yeah, no,
50-50, honestly, 50-50.
it's gonna be obviously it's gonna be a good event, man. Like, obviously I can't wait for it. You obviously mentioned the fathers, of course. Going to war, going to battle. The first time, obviously Eubank becoming champion, and then the second time, cause at this place as well, Old Trafford, the second one.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the arguable draw slash maybe that should have been
Yeah.
Eubank. That should have been Nigel Benn's victory. It should be 1-1 by now, man. But
Yeah. Yeah.
with the Suns, it's a legacy and
Yeah.
it's a rivalry that's been reignited from this opportunity. And look, I'm not gonna lie to you, cuz man. I think Eubank's gonna do it, man. I think Eubank's gonna do it inside 7 rounds. I just feel that in terms of the experience, him being sort of too big, the mind games and the occasion, and him being in this situation before, Ben hasn't sort of been in this sort of magnitude of an event before. So, he could be making mistakes that he normally doesn't make. But I think regardless, I just hope that if Eubank does win, let's say inside the 7 rounds, I hope that Ben can still sort of continue afterwards, go on with his sort of welterweight career. There's not going to be any shame in him losing to Eubank, especially at this stage. And then, Eubank can then, think about a title shot against a Triple G next year, man. So obviously, big up Ade. Yes, big up Ade, man. Thank you so much for viewing the show. Really do appreciate the love as always. And yeah, cuz that's what it's just about at the end of the day, man. This fight's
Okay.
gonna be major. This is gonna be
So
huge. So I just can't wait, man.
if Conor beats Eubank, what happens? Rematch or that's it?
Yeah, they would have to think about it. If let's say that was to happen, if that was to happen, a rematch has to happen. Do you know what I mean? And commercially, everyone's gonna love it. Why? Because we're gonna get a second round of this sort of first fight. So if let's say the fight was so good that you know what, we want to see another one, I'm sure they would do another one and then possibly do a trilogy. Do you know what I mean? But I honestly I don't think it's gonna it's gonna be that. I reckon Eubank's gonna win the fight, man.
Your prediction: Eubank wins the fight. Me, I
I'm,
reckon it's going to be a draw.
I'm
If it
saying
goes to 12 rounds,
Mm.
I think it's going to be a draw. Then they'll probably do a stadium fight, Wembley or Cardiff.
Yeah, they
in
should.
2023.
Yeah. It has the sort of names and the fighters and the promoters and the sort of broadcasting to do a stadium fight. So yeah, cuz definitely why not?
Well, if Eubank wins, he has to challenge for a world title next. I don't want to
Yeah,
hear.
I don't want to hear nothing else as well, man. I want to see him in there, Triple G,
Triple G or Charlo.
Triple G or Charlo. I
Yeah,
just want to see Eubank fight for a title now. He's 33. Remember, his dad obviously retired at the age of 32. He was
yeah.
able to win, multiple world titles during that time. I'm sure Eubanks is thinking, look, we gotta, definitely win a title before he retires, man. He's not a young man no more, man. He's experienced fighter.
2023, I want to see him challenge for a world title. Well, this is after Spence and Crawford.
Well, you reckon Ben challenged for world title?
2023, yeah, of course, because technically we're gonna get what Crawford and Spence.
Yeah,
they're gonna potentially fight. Let's say next year. It was supposed to happen this. It was supposed to happen in November, but something went wrong. But they're gonna probably fight. Let's say what January, February, right? Now, belts are gonna get vacated because I believe Spence wants to move up. Now this is the time where Conor has to challenge for a belt. No more, fighting this and that opponent. No. It's done. It's done. From when you're fighting Eubank, bro, you've proven to me that you're hungry.
Yeah, he's hungry. He definitely. That's why I think he's got a bright future in the welterweight division. Regardless, man, this fight doesn't define Ben at all. Do you know what I mean? Even if he loses or if it's a draw, it doesn't define him at all. For me, I think it's obviously a legacy fight that possibly will never happen again. Obviously, big up, Ade for the way he's put it together in terms of the face-offs. I don't know if you've been watching
Of course, I watch face-off.
Oh man, I can't even lie. I've genuinely been enjoying it. and just seeing how they both are, I think it's just going to be an exciting event, man, which I can't wait for, of course, man. So, look, I'm going for Eubank inside 7 rounds. You know why I'm saying that as well is because obviously Conor's saying he's coming. He's saying he's looking to knock him clean in 6 rounds. So, if he's gonna come out it like that, for me, I think Eubank's gonna, tear him apart if that's the case. But I just don't think that will happen. If he's gonna come straight in. Cuz, I don't know what you think, man, but that's going to be a bit risky, man, in my opinion.
Boxing overall is risky, but like I said,
It is.
if if Eubank doesn't get the job done in round 5, 6, if it goes to 12th round, I'm telling you, it's a draw. It's a draw. Or Conor may just nick it. I don't know, but I'm telling you now, if it goes to 12th round, this 12th round, yeah, I'm telling you, they're looking at Wembley Arena in summer. Wembley Stadium, sorry, yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Eubank Jr versus Benn 2. Like, imagine that. Imagine the promos for that, cuz. Huge. Huge. Well, because let me ask you as well, man. Like, obviously, look, I've always been a Eubank man, of course, man, since, from senior, from when he was fighting, the entrances, etc., man. But what do you think, man? Do you reckon he's going to be in Junior's corner for this fight, man?
Of course he will. Yeah,
you reckon it's all part of the pantomime, all part of the drama, him.
Listen, this is a big fight. Yeah. They have to sell this fight. Remember, boxing is business, it's entertainment. You have to sell the fight. Put it this way: Frank Warren said, "Yeah, like, look, I don't understand why this is pay-per-view." And I get where Frank's coming from. No disrespect to the fighters, you know what I mean? But yeah, Frank was saying that, look, none of them have won world titles. It's just the names from their fathers. And he's got a valid point. I'm not trying to disrespect. And he's saying that, Rob, why should it be pay-per-view? Do you know what I mean? But
this is pay-per-view, cuz.
No. I'm not disagreeing, but I get where Frank's coming from. Basically saying that, look, Eubank Sr. retired at the age of what, 32, 33. Junior, he hasn't become he's the next gen, but he hasn't won no titles. Okay. He won was it that IBO? I know some people class that's like a real world title, whatnot.
Yeah.
But basically what Frank's saying is that, look, there's no world title on the line and whatnot. And it's just the name of their fathers. That's why it's a big fight. Ideally, if it wasn't for that, it won't be pay-per-view. It's just you got middleweight, then you got welterweight, doing that fight at catch weight, but it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be entertaining. The whole nation's going to watch it.
That's why, cuz, man. That's why we have to obviously give credit to those who do the commercial, the marketing, and deal with all the business stuff in obviously off the ring. When you think about it, if you really think about the numbers that the dads did before the social media era,
I know.
Imagine, because this is not going to happen again, cuz. Like, this is it's going to be very unlikely for something like this to happen again. Like, sons of legends, coming together and fighting, cuz that's stuff that's made of dreams, man. If I'm honest with you, like, this is a fantasy fight. So yeah, of course, this deserves to be pay-per-view, just based on the basis that it's a fantasy fight, because they're both in different parallels in terms of one being a middleweight, another being a welterweight. But now they've somehow, done what they needed to do to make this fight happen, because they obviously see the value in this, man. This is legacy. I don't think we're gonna see something like this again, cuz, man. Just let's think, like, I don't know, if AJ retires, if his son becomes we're going down the years, like, you think Tyson Fury's son's gonna fight AJ's son in the future? Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? But no, it's gonna be big regardless, cuz, man. But obviously we're coming up to the end of the show anyway. Obviously, we just wanted to shout out to everyone that's viewing the show right now, and for those that's obviously going to watch the show after this live recording. Obviously, once again, big up Ade as well. We obviously love what you're doing with the Zone and obviously with Talk Sport. And yeah, we're definitely just going to keep pushing. Remember, we're not about the numbers or the subs. We're not even focusing on that. We're just focusing on putting great content out there for the boxing public. And yeah, we're just giving fans a voice as well, and we're trying to also give those fans that are viewing these shows, we're giving them access into the boxing world. So for us, that is what's most important, not the subs, not the numbers, not the views. And yeah, we just appreciate your support. Massive, massive. And look, we've got an announcement. Big up, big up, big up, big up. Guys, you've seen a live announcement here. Obviously, Ade is gonna jump on after the fight. Massive news. So thank you so much, Ade, for your constant support. I know it's been a long one, but yeah, I'm just happy that we can make something like that happen, man. But cuz, how you gonna
Listen,
sum this up for us, man?
as always, man. Look, thank you again. Thank you. Remember, we're always here every Sunday at 7:30. Have a lovely, productive week. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we're out.
We're out. Blessings.